Right, welcome to UK Casuals. Today we have actor Eddie Webber. So how are you today, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. All good, mate. How are you? A little bit worse for wear, but there you go.
Yeah, we all have nights like that. It's obviously, it's been the weekend. It's really a privilege to get you on.
Privilege is mine, mate. The honour's mine.
I'm really honoured for you to come on. So basically, I want to ask you about your career, and I think it's fair to say that the films that you're probably most known for is The Business and The Firm.
Yeah.
I'll ask you about the Business first, because your head ended up on a stake, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yes, mate.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah, it did. So how did you become involved in getting a role in The Business then, Eddie?
Well, I was living in Spain at the time. I was living out there. I lived out there for like 6 years.
Right.
In Marbella, sort of thing. And one day I was walking along the beach, and I saw Tama.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Random. Totally random. And he said, Web. I went, what are you doing out here? Because we'd known each other for a long time anyway, like, you know, growing up and whatnot. He said, I'm out here recceing for a movie. Nick Love's doing a movie. And I knew Nick Love because of Charlie Bright and the Football Factory sort of thing, you know? And so I went, oh, fuck me, any you know, anything in it for me. Oh, well, I never said that, actually. He said it. He said, look, give us your bits and pieces, and I'll get it over to Nick Love. And that was it, really. He got the bits and pieces over to Nick Love, and then I ended up coming back to London, doing an audition for it, a little scene, which is deleted. Quite a funny scene, really. It's a shame it was deleted.
So was a lot of The Business actually filmed in Spain then?
All of it was.
Apart
from the scenes at the beginning when he was on the council estate.
Yeah.
When Danny was on the council estate.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the Aylesbury estate in London or what. I can't remember that, but the rest of it was all shot in Almanyaca, in Nerja.
Almanyaca, right. It was probably boiling, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was all right. I was living out there anyway, so it didn't matter to me. I was acclimatised to it all.
Yeah.
You know. And what was interesting about it, because they couldn't go to Port Banús, because obviously it's too busy. And back in the 80s, Port Banús was only one line, right? But now it's sort of 3 lines. So they found another port that the same architect that done Port Banús built, and it was still only 1 line. So they shot it out. Yeah,
I mean, The Business was a really, I would say, it's quite a cult movie.
Yeah.
A lot of the I mean, this is primarily a football channel. I did interview Stuart Wolfenden, who played Herbie in Dead Man's Shoes the other month.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of a different interview, because normally I interview ex-members of football hooligan firms, but it's it's always good to speak to different people. Now, The Firm, Eddie, Nick Love. Could you call it a remake, or was it its own film, would you say?
Well, I thought it was its own film, because, I mean, the interesting thing about the Firm, and I've said this a lot of times to people as well, that I remember talking to Nick Love about the character and all that, and he said, what we want to do really is sort of turn it upside down and get some sort of social comment out of it, really, because we wanted to let people know, really, that the people that get involved in that football stuff and all that don't all come from sort of dysfunctional families, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And his family was a loving family sort of thing. And it was only when he met Paul's character that it all went sort of Pete Tong for him, you know. But that's what we wanted to try and do, is like make it a social comment rather than another like straight remake of.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, really. You see all these people in these films, but each one of these people have got a life. And a story behind going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's quite a strange sort of thought, really, that when they go away from them people, they've got another life.
They go home to their missus.
That film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what he wanted to do, Nick, was just take it down to that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think, Eddie, what was really interesting is that you were obviously Dom's dad. You wasn't part of the firm, but you still were quite an influential character within the film. And you could see what was going wrong for your son, but you didn't like Bex when you first met him. I thought that was really sort of important, like you said, to feel like these characters, when they go and kick off in football, they do go home and they do have normal lives. They're not gangsters, you know. They're not at all.
I mean, all they are really sort of. I grew up with Millwall, you know, and I knew all the people that went to Millwall, and what it was really, it was just like working class people just trying to let off a bit of steam somewhere, really, because they go work all week. You know, I mean, the firm, it was different because they were all working in the city and all that, and estate agents and things like that. But the majority of people that go to football and do that from these working class environments, they're all sort of on building sites and working hard all week, sort of thing. And then Saturday comes along, and it's time to let off a bit of steam, sort of thing, Matty. You know? Yeah,
it's that. Yeah, and I obviously, there's been a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews that, you know, why do people do what they do at football? And the reason why I do this channel, Eddie, is to get it over that it's a lot more than just violence. There's a lot more to it, you know. And obviously, said you're a Millwall lad or Millwall supporter. And Millwall get nothing but bad press. They're this, that, and the other.
Now they do. But when I was going to Millwall, you know, like in 1969, you know, 1970 sort of thing, it wasn't really as bad as what happened in the 70s sort of thing. When West Ham and Millwall sort of, there's a story behind West Ham and Millwall. You know, there's an actual story of why it all kicked off between West Ham and Millwall, and it was all down to a fella who got killed, who got thrown off a train.
Right.
You know, but like, I don't want to go too much into it.
No, of course, no, I wouldn't want you to.
It wasn't about football, really. It was just about a liberty that got taken.
Yeah.
And that's why West Ham and Millwall sort of had their little problems, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't about football.
No, it was about something that happened. And obviously, these football firms, they took on names and they had calling cards and all the rest of it. And I suppose what I would like to ask you, Eddie, is that do you think football fans get demonised by the press?
Well, I mean, look, who don't get demonised by the press? Do you know what I mean? Who don't? You know, they are demons. You know what I mean? The press are demons. There ain't no two ways about it, really. They're, you know, I mean, if if like, for instance, when Millwall played Luton and they went into Luton and they just smashed Luton up, they absolutely smashed Luton up, you know?
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, it was a right naughty game.
A really naughty, yeah.
You know, so are you being demonised if you do things like that sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, you bring it on yourself. Yeah.
Do what, mate?
You bring it on yourself, don't you? If you're going to go around,
you know, I don't know really. I don't know how you explain that phenomenon of football aggression. You know, I mean, it was just. I stopped going to football because of it, to tell you the truth.
Really?
You know, back in the 70s, I was only a kid, like, I don't know, 14. And to go to them matches and see that sort of violence was, especially for parents, almost like Dom's parents, you know, to say, look, you ain't going there no more because it's too dangerous, sort of thing. And when you've got them little, people don't really realise. I mean, the difference between Nick Love's The Firm and Alan Clark's The Firm, the original one in the 80s, you know, in the one in the 80s where they've just got chinos and like moccasins, like 3 or 4 handed. In Nick's one, you know, you've got 300-400 of them running at you.
More realistic,
terrifying. You know what I mean? It's absolute, that little scene where they do it in the city, when they filmed it in the city, when there was. Millwall and West Ham were facing up with each other. That's what it was more like that than it was in the Alan Clark's one, the original one, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, who would you run from? That little firm in Alan Clark's movie or the little firm in Nick Love's movie? I know who I'd run away from.
Yeah, I know straight away who I'd run away from as well, Eddie.
You know, like the Millwall support of the Millwall one in the original one. Up in, you know, Phil Davies pulling up in a convertible Volkswagen, like in a Burberry trench or whatever trench Mac. I mean, nah, you know, you can't have that, really, can you?
No, I think.
Or Paul Anderson running at you with a big, you know, and that little firm there. So I thought, because Nick, I think, was involved in all that anyway.
Yeah,
I think Nick was a part of all that anyway, so he knew what to do, you know. And he's a great director, Nick. He's very precise in what he does, you know. He won't let nothing go. Because I remember when we was doing The Business, I had an old BMW, a convertible BMW, like a 3 Series, really beautiful little motor it was.
Right.
And I was looking for a motor, a BMW, to shoot in the film. I said, look, I've got one. He went, no, the indicator lights are wrong for that era.
That little issue. Yeah.
The indicators. And there was another scene in the film where I'm sitting on a scaffold. Me and Callum are sitting next to each other, and he's asking me for money to go out.
That's right, yeah.
And what we had, it's not in the scene now, we both had cans of lager, can of beer each, and we were drinking them. And all of a sudden, Nick went absolutely bonkers. And we went, what's the matter? He went, the rim ain't the right rim.
Right.
On the beer can.
Attention to detail.
Well, that's how you make movies, mate.
Yeah.
That's how you make believable movies, you know?
I suppose.
And it's like a business. I think the reason that they sort of cast us in the business, because we actually grew up around the real people that they were sort of portraying. You know what I mean, mate?
Yeah, I understand completely. Yeah.
So you've got to get away with it then, haven't you? You know, you can't foul, really.
No, you've got to do it justice.
It ain't like EastEnders where you've got a middle-class geezer trying to talk like us, you know what I mean? Like Mary Poppins, it's like Mary Poppins sometimes, isn't it?
Dick Van Dyke's Cockney accent or something. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. You've said Nick Love is had attention to detail with the business in the firm. So what's been happening for you recently, Eddie?
Well, I've just finished a movie with, do you know Roland Manukian?
Oh yes, yeah. He was in the business, wasn't he?
He was in business and Charlie
Football Factory. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zebedee played, you know.
Oh, Zebedee, yeah.
Well, he's just written and directed his first movie.
Oh, really?
So we've all been a part of that. Yeah, we've all been a part. It's called The Sun Also Shines. Okay. And it's like myself, Jeff, Craig Fairbrass. It's a nice little cast in it, really nice little cast. So we've just done that.
Yeah.
And I've got another little script out with myself, with a nice little company that want to go forward with it. So we're just waiting for for that to get lit, really, you know, which is a nice little movie called Rough Justice. I mean, I've got a little Facebook page, Rough Justice Movies, so you can see the
I'll put the link in the description, Eddie, about it. I'll put the link in the description for you.
But what we're trying to do now, Matty, because it's our own little project that we're trying to get our Instagram followers up, we can sort of. It seems to me that that's a big thing in this business. You know, people sort of don't really take a lot of notice of you if you've got 4 or 5 of them, but they take notice of you if you've got like 10,000 people around you.
Completely agree, Eddie. For some reason, Instagram seems to be, it's took over Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as it was. So Instagram, what's the page called? Rough Justice, is it?
No, it's a Facebook page, Rough Justice, but the Instagram is my one at the moment, which is Eddie.Webber.
Okay, I'll put the description. I'll put the link in the description. And
yeah, nice, Matty, because I think it's sort of, it matters, them sort of things, you know.
Yeah, I know, of course it does.
And what we're going to do through that, before we get our own Instagram page up, we want to try and get this Instagram account up, so we can keep people posted about the progression of this movie. And it's going to be a good little movie. You know, people are really, really loving it. It's very controversial as well, this film that we're.
Yeah. Well, no, that's good. No, like I say, it'll be in the description, and
nice.
And when it progresses to have its own thing, just get in touch and I'll advertise it. I mean, it's never a problem, Eddie. Yeah, I mean, you are right about Instagram. It just seems to be the thing to have at the moment. I mean, I just so that's all your projects really. You've got nothing else coming up, Eddie?
Yeah, there is a couple of little things in the pipeline. There's a couple of little. There's one that's definitely going, but I can't really say anything about it at the moment because it's sort of lapsed in a bit of secrecy, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Eddie.
And sometimes you have to sort of get involved in these NDAs, you know, like these waiver things that you got to sign and say you can't say anything about it and you can't say that. So, but it's you know, because of what's happened in the last year or so with all the bullshit, you know, what's been going on about I don't even like saying the name of it really. You know,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
An illness that's been going about. Everything stopped.
Yeah, it killed everything, especially movie making. I suppose social media is being used much more.
Correct.
And we can do remote interviews like we're doing now. And I suppose, but it did sort of stop everything, and people have got their own opinions about it and stuff.
Everyone's got an opinion now, haven't they? Everyone's got this,
it's like arseholes. We've all got one, Eddie.
Everyone's a doctor.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you're watching a football match, everyone's a referee. You know?
Yeah, it's the most craziest time. I mean, I've done a podcast the other day with a young kid.
Right.
And I said to him, look, I grew up in the late 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000, went through all the music scenes of them eras sort of thing. I said to this kid, you're never, ever going to experience that. Ever.
It's sad. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because it's locked in now.
So we'll talk about podcasts a little bit before we finish. Do you just go on podcasts, Eddie, or do you have your own one?
I've got a podcast that I've just started. It's called You've Been Webbered.
Right, okay. Again,
You've Been Webbered. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. Link will be in the description.
Right, so I've just started it. And I just wanted to dip my toe in it. I mean, I've done one with Carol Harrison, Gary Shaw, Michael Elkin, Nina Cranston, and Becky. Oh God, forgive me, I've forgotten her name. Whose son got murdered in knife crime. Beston, Archie Beston, his name was. Yeah. Awful, absolutely heartbreaking, and it's a little bit it's a little bit uncomfortable to watch, to tell you the truth, Matty, because this woman's unraveling, you know. Yeah, no, I completely. So, what's your role in it? Is it like, I suppose you're the interviewer, not the interviewee? So, say the name of your podcast again. Link will be in the description. It's called You've Been Webbered. Right. So it's YOU_VE. You've been Webbered. BEEN Webbered with an apostrophe D at the end of Webber. Okay, and you just interview different people about all different subjects. Yeah, sometimes it goes on for like an hour and a half, you know. Okay. And I've been told, because I thought, should I edit this? And I thought, no, I can't edit it because everything's relevant, what's in it. And people seem to it, they've engaged in it, sort of thing. I mean, I've got one coming up with Daniela Westbrook. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll advertise that for you, really. Yeah. Well, I just want to talk to my friends, sort of thing. Yeah. You know, that have had a bit of roughness in this business. You know what I mean? Like she's been vilified in the press, isn't she, and all the rest of it. So. And people don't realise she is, in her heart, she's a very nice lady, you know? Yeah, and I think this is why it's good for podcasts like this, Eddie, that we can get the real story out there and not the mainstream press's story. This is what I try and do about the football. Okay, all links to Instagram and your podcast will be in the description. They will also be advertised on my Facebook page and Twitter. I'll give that a share, mate. Yeah, I will share it all about. I've got quite a good social media platform. Nice. It's been a pleasure, Eddie. And you also, Matty. I'm sorry it was like little bits delayed, sort of thing, you know. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. It's been a pleasure, you know, just to get you on and just for you to agree to it, you know. It's a pleasure, mate. So you'll get on. No, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honour. Like I say, all links in the description, and there'll be more videos coming from UK Casual soon. And it's, can I just give Alan Awayday Apparel, because Alan Jones. Of course you can, mate. Yeah. There's the Awayday Apparel. He sends me some little T-shirts every now and then, and so I just wanted to give him a shout, really. Yeah, no, I know, Alan. Thank you. No, that's absolutely fine, mate. Lovely. Yeah, no, that's great. Alan's a good guy. And he advertises on my videos a lot, so that's great. Okay, Eddie. And like I said, Matty, if you could give us a hand with this Instagram stuff, it'd be amazing. Oh, Eddie, listen, mate, it's done. It's done. I'll help you out. I've got your email address now, so we can talk through that, and I'll use my social media platform to Well, I'll send you my phone number, mate. I'll give you my phone number, mate. You know, I think you've got my phone. Have you got? Did I send my phone? Anyway. No,
but you can email it me.
Yeah,
and then we can keep in touch.
Lovely, mate.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's been Eddie Webber, the legend of the films, the business, and the firm. And there'll be more videos coming from UK Casual soon.